1,584.
I have about 3,000 songs.
I think I have 8,000. Or no, it's over 9. Over 9,000?
It's 11,000.
Like 8,000.
About like 15,000 or more.
Hold on, did she say 15,000 songs? Let's do the math there. 15,000 songs times $1.29 per song on iTunes? That's a lot of money. That's more than a minimum wage worker's yearly salary in Ontario. Although they wouldn't say it in front of the camera, they hadn't actually paid for their music.
How many of those have you paid for?
With the recent technological advances in personal computers and the internet, illegally downloaded media is a bigger and bigger issue than ever, and it's a problem that needs solving.
Jackie and I are on a mission to stop piracy.
Help us stop piracy!
Let's terminate it.
Although I'd love to just take Arnold and Jackie's word for it, let's take a look at the numbers. As of 2011, the Recording Industry Association of America estimates a $12.5 billion loss per year from music piracy. But music isn't the only media out there. The Motion Picture Association of America estimates a $6.1 billion loss from movie piracy. In total, this amounts to a whopping $18.6 billion loss per year. So why do we download anyways? Well,
It's free.
Convenience. It's cheaper. It's more accessible.
Everybody downloads music.
Everyone does it anyway, so like it's on the internet, it's there. Why would you spend money on something that you don't have to spend money on, right? And we shouldn't, but we do, and it's available.
of course, no company can compete with the price of $0. But does the music have to be free for people to be willing to pay for it?
Buying a CD is pretty expensive, same with buying a DVD.
The stores just make it way too expensive.
I feel like music is not worth what people charge for it. I would be willing to pay for it, but not like $1.30. If it was like, I don't know, 10 cents, I would probably pay for a lot more music.
When bands do stuff like the Radiohead album in Rainbows, where it's posted on the net and you can pay whatever you want for it, I actually paid for that.
What's he talking about? Well, in 2007, the rock band Radiohead released their 7th studio album, In Rainbows. What was so special about that? The album was released digitally, online, and buyers were allowed to download the album and pay whatever they wanted, including nothing. So what happened? The average price that was paid was £4 British. In Rainbows sold more copies and made more money than their last album, selling over 1.2 million copies downloaded. And over 100,000 hard copy discs were sold at a fixed, regular album price. The album was successful commercially and critically, and its experimental sale format proved a very valuable point. If the price is fair, fans are willing to pay for it.
How much did you pay? I paid $9.
$9, that's almost the full price of the album.
That's almost the full price of the album. When I have the opportunity to do it conveniently, and when the bands are being reasonable about the prices, when it's not being jacked up, when I know that a load of money is not going to people who don't necessarily deserve it, the marketers, when it's just going purely to the artist, I'll buy it.
Fans would much rather have their money go directly to their artist instead of a record label. So what about downloading movies?
Would you agree that movie downloading and movie piracy is a bigger problem than ever before?
I'd have to disagree with that, partially because movies like Avatar, that came out 2 years ago, pretty recently, actually sold the most, made the most money at the box office out of any movie in history.
But have movies really been making as much as we thought? In 2009, the film Avatar grossed over $2.78 billion, the highest grossing movie of all time. But is it? In 1939, Gone with the Wind grossed over $400 million. But these numbers are deceiving. If currency inflation is taken into account, Gone with the Wind has actually grossed over $6 billion by today's standards, over 2 times that of Avatar. And that's even with the large population growth, the increased availability of movie theaters, and the extra cost of a 3D ticket.
That's what's wrong with you. You should be kissed and often, and by someone who knows how.
If video games and other software are also digitally based media, are they pirated on a mass scale as well? In short, the answer is no. One example is the Call of Duty franchise. Its latest game, Black Ops, sold over 5.6 million copies within 24 hours of its release. Within 2 months, its sales had exceeded $1 billion. So why don't games and software suffer from the same level of piracy? Because it's easily preventable while still being cost efficient. Software nowadays comes with something called a serial activation key. It's basically a very long password that the company will distribute only to legal buyers, and it allows them to use their software. If someone tries to use the software without having the activation key, the program won't work. So why don't they just do this with music and movies? Although it works, it wouldn't be economically viable. This is because people don't listen to music or watch movies just on their personal computers. They have MP3 players, TVs, places these companies can't access.
So what's the difference between dining and dashing and shoplifting and stealing music?
I'm not sure if there's much difference to it. Essentially, you are stealing.
There's no difference. There's no difference. It's stealing. It's still stealing. Yeah.
Well, they're both wrong.
So why do you illegally download but not shoplift, for that matter?
Because it's easier to get caught shoplifting.
So, in a nutshell, you're just a terrible person.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess technically they're the same thing.
If you shoplift, it's gone forever. Like there's a direct correlation between you stealing it and it being gone. Here, nothing is gone. Illegal file sharing is a theft. Illegal file sharing is copyright infringement. A theft basically is like depriving the owner of his or her property, and file sharing is copying a file without the permission of the owner. So the difference is you're not depriving the owner of his or her file, you're just copying it without his permission.
He has a point. Normal goods have object permanence. There's only a limited number of them, so if you steal one, it's gone. But due to the virtual nature of media, files can be copied as many times as anyone wants without actually costing anything or depriving the owner of the item. Essentially, there are unlimited copies of the good. But that still doesn't make it right. Illegally downloading media is wrong by any means, and no one should do it. But people will always do it as long as it's available and easy to get away with. Even though Avatar wasn't as successful as we thought, it still made a lot of money. Why is that?
Because it was 3D, it wasn't something you could experience in your home. Like if I went and got a rip of that and watched it on my laptop, it's not nearly the same. It's not even half of the experience of going and seeing it in theaters. They sell experience, the IMAX theaters, the 3D theaters. They still have a huge market because it's a social thing to go to movies, and Avatar was a big example of this.
Well, people do like seeing stuff in theaters. Like, you know, the big screen, loud sounds, big entertainment thing.
I don't know, it's more about the experience, I guess. Like, it's better to watch a movie in a movie theater with your friends and stuff.
With a movie like Avatar, it's the kind of movie you have to see in theaters for the special effects with the 3D glasses and everything. And it's not the same effect as if you watch it at home.
The theater, it's different because you pay for like the whole experience.
Movie theaters offer an experience that just can't be matched by an illegal download at home. That's why people are still willing to pay the price of a ticket just to see the movie in a theater. In music, the equivalent is a live concert. No illegal download could ever match the experience of actually seeing your favorite artist perform live. The problem with recorded music is that if you download it, you're getting the exact same thing as if you bought the album. This doesn't happen with the live concert experience or the movie theater, which people can't pirate or download. This is why no matter how far technology develops, people will always be willing to pay to see a live concert. So what can be learned from all this? Constantly telling everyone that downloading is wrong hasn't done anything. Meanwhile, reasonably pricing the music has, as well as creating an undownloadable experience. Basically, they don't need to force anyone to pay. These companies should quit making futile attempts to stop downloading, and instead, just create incentives that make people be willing to pay. And on a final note, not that anyone would listen to me, but ideally, if anyone had any real integrity, they wouldn't be downloading in the first place.